Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for January 26th, 2020. As always, please consider subscribing as well as watching the whole video. And today we're going to be talking about a potential nor'easter on the East Coast next weekend. It could be potentially a blockbuster snowstorm, and we had to watch it, and we're going to track miles in this video. And I actually made my own maps of scenarios, 3 scenarios that could play out, potentially, cause this is gonna hit like next weekend, if it does, so I painted some scenario maps, and I'm also gonna go through models and news articles as well. But before I get to the scenario maps and everything, there's just something I wanted to share. Yes, so Kobe Bryant did die, sadly, around 9:47 Pacific time this morning at the age of 41 in a helicopter crash. I heard his daughter sadly also passed away, and I believe it was 5 or 9 people in the helicopter crash were killed. And and I mean, he was a great basketball player. I mean, he was a global icon, and he was really, a great example to many. But in weather, I mean, I'm not only sharing it because weather was actually the cause of the crash potentially, but just because, I mean, it was very sad. I mean, just the fact that he was, a great example, and he was not only a great basketball player, but a great inspiration to many, and his daughter was helping him getting back into basketball and everything. So yes, he did sadly die at the age of 41 in a helicopter crash, and the blame was fog and low clouds in the Los Angeles area. So all the loved ones that did die in the crash, we all there to support you. We're all sending out our respects. Just wanted to get that. I just wanted to share that real quick just to get you guys informed. And I'm very sorry to all the victims' families. Okay, so this is the blockbuster snowstorm again. It's 3 scenarios. And I'm gonna move up the map too, because this isn't the whole thing. I'm gonna scroll up. But this is the potential blockbuster snowstorm next weekend, and this is just one of the scenarios that could possibly play out. Okay, and it's not a named storm by any means yet, so because it's so far out in time. So the first scenario would be the low pressure hugging the coastline, and the low, like the 2 low pressure systems wouldn't merge together, and the primary low would be near the coastline. Okay, with the track. If that happens, okay, there's going to be a lot of rain for the I-95 corridor, and maybe even just west of the 95 corridor, potentially some rain. I mean, we're talking about from, Bar Harbor and Portland all the way down to the Carolinas. Now, like I said, or as I'm going to say, now, if the storm if it does take this track, this is not what's exactly going to play out. I just drew in colors in general what would happen, because to get the idea, if the storm hugs the coast, I-95 corridor is going to be rain. Okay, and there will be some wintry mix potentially for maybe central Maine, down through central Pennsylvania, down the Appalachian Mountains maybe, but that could all vary. I'm just saying in general, this is what like a guideline as to what you could expect. And then northern Maine back towards the eastern Great Lakes, like extreme eastern Great Lakes, the Appalachian Mountains, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, maybe just east of Cincinnati would see some snow from the coastal low, and maybe even some more snow from this other low pressure system that would be dropping down from the Great Lakes. Now, number 2 would be low pressure tracks offshore, but still, somewhere near the coast. Obviously, otherwise there'd be no precipitation at all. And it would track in this scenario near what's called a 40-degree north, 70-degree west benchmark. You're like, well, what is that? Well, when nor'easters track up the coast from south to north, there's a spot somewhere in here. It's called the 40-70 benchmark, and I'll show you later when I'm doing the models. And if the low tracks near the 40-70 benchmark, that would be the primary coordinates to get snow for the I-95 corridor. So I-95 corridor, this probably be the scenario that you want to happen. Okay, and the 2 low pressure systems would actually merge together in this scenario, maybe somewhere around here, and track up near the coast in some kind of fashion. Okay, now there may still be rain for the central and southern Carolinas, but the Appalachian chain and the Smoky Mountains could still see some wintry mix and some snowfall, and really just snow from Richmond Virginia, D.C., Wilmington, Philly, New York, Boston, Portland, Bar Harbor, everybody would be in the snow. Okay, and the only place that would really see wintry mix and snow would be like the extreme coastal areas potentially. I know it happens in a lot of like back in 2018 in the March when we had those four Easters, those four nor'easters. And it was Toby, Riley, Skylar, and Quinn. Those were the four of them. I don't know it in any particular order, but I know at least Toby and Quinn because those are the two ones that gave my area like 10 inches of snow for my region. So, but they do usually the nor'easters do in this scenario bring some wintry mix to the immediate coastline, but still the I-95 would definitely be in some snow. Okay, maybe some mixing depending on the exact track, but in general, this is what you would expect. And finally, scenario 3, okay, would be the low staying, to the south. It would trek off the southeast coast, okay, and be out to sea. And obviously, the low would be a lot weaker because the two low pressure systems wouldn't merge together. They just go their separate ways. Okay, but we still could see some snow. Philly, Baltimore, D.C., Cincinnati, Indianapolis, point south. Okay, and but it would be more of like a light snow, so you can see snow and light snow. So the precipitation would also be definitely weaker. But a place like Nashville, maybe Memphis, the Appalachian chain could still see some wintry mix. And northern central North Carolina and extreme southern Virginia could see some rain and snow. And then rain and rain showers for the southeast, where they really don't need it anymore. As a matter of fact, I know Jackson's probably picked up over a foot of rain so far this month. And as a matter of fact, just yesterday, it was yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday. I mean, the rain was so. I mean, like up here in the Mid Atlantic. I mean, I had reported like an inch and a half to 2 inches of rain. I mean, and it was no rainfall that I mean, I was alive for Sandy, but I really, I just couldn't really remember it. It wasn't, into weather all that much back in 2012 than I am now. But I mean, the rainfall. I mean, the rivers are rising so rapidly. I know at least a couple river gauges in my area that went into moderate flood stage, and there was just this one road that usually floods by a gas station. I mean, not all the time, but it hasn't done it since 2017, and it did it again. There was like 6-7 inches of water on the road because of the way it's formed, and cars just couldn't get through. So I mean, there was a lot of flooding. And the retention pond in my neighborhood rose to like near like record levels, like almost getting ready to flow out. I mean, and there's a lot of grass and hills around the retention pond. So, but that was a lot of rain and a lot more than I expected. But that rain is thankfully gone since yesterday. But like I said, the southeast, we don't really need any kind of precipitation. But I mean, a little bit of snow would always be nice. But who knows? What scenario 3 would be the best chance for snow in the south? But I mean, it's not looking that likely. But we can't rule anything out. All right, so we're gonna go through the models now, and I know I said I would, so I'm gonna show you what the 4070 benchmark is. So you can see they're a very small print where I'm moving my mouse. I don't know if you can see the mouse, but you should be able to see the numbers 40 and 70. So right about here. Yeah, just about in this region. This is like your 4070 benchmark around there, and that it says nor'easters track. Now, I mean, if a storm comes like this from the northwest, it's not a nor'easter, but if nor'easters can track into that benchmark, that's your best shot for the storms and those, big snowstorms for the I-95 quarter. So it's not over yet, okay, for I-95 quarter, even though we've only picked up like a half inch to maybe an inch and a half of snow, some of the metropolitan cities. Okay, we still got 2 full months left, okay, because as you learned with the 4 Easters back in March of 2018, March, we can still get a lot of snow. One of those 4 nor'easters, Toby, was the one that brought like 11 inches of snow, 12 inches of snow in the Mid-Atlantic in the first day of spring, the first full day of spring, which was technically the second day of spring. So that was a pretty impressive storm. So we're going to go through the models, starting with GFS, then Canadian, then European, and just kind of looking at the precipitation and the upper air dynamics to see, how will these 2 low pressures merge together? Okay, how much will the precipitation be the latest? Okay, in the GFS, so they actually have a storm that will slip off the southeast coast. Okay, right there. And then here it comes from the southwest. Actually, this is the 18Z run, so the last one I looked at was 12. So I don't think I really looked at this yet. But there's some snow to the north in places like Ohio, in Indiana, in Michigan, central Michigan. Okay, and there it goes. Okay, precipitation looks a little bit more scattered rain than it did before, but still a quick shot of snow, maybe some snow for I-95 corridor, and we can still get some wraparound potentially on the backside. You can see some scattered snow showers on the backside of the storm, but still, at least it's not raining like GFS was showing at first. And maybe like on the backside, they're calling for some pretty heavy snow for the Appalachian Mountains there in eastern West Virginia. So that's something interesting to watch. So when we look at the GFS, when we count in the lake effect snow behind the storm system, so the total snowfall, okay, and it doesn't, I mean, for the Mid-Atlantic, they're calling for like 3 inches at first with the last model run, but okay, but still, I mean, Philly 0.2, but we still got a lot of time for this to change, so don't take this with a grain of salt, but I mean, we got 3 inches up through, places like Trenton, New York City, Southern Connecticut, Long Island, Boston can maybe see an inch or two. Okay, but look at the heavy snow in the eastern facing side of the Appalachian Mountains. We're talking about 15, 17 inches of snow that could rack up with that lake effect. And even down to Smoky Mountains, we could talk about over 6 inches of snow. So it's going to be like a pretty heavy mountainous event, potentially. Okay, and the GDPS, this is the 12Z run because they only do 0, 1, 12, and so does the European. Now, if I remember correctly, this actually did show a lot of snow, so there's a spoiler alert. So at first, everything just glazes off to the south. Doesn't look all that bad. Okay, maybe a little, this is, what, like Saturday, 2 a.m.? Little low pressure system come up the coast, a little bit of rain. And when I was first looking at this, I was getting disappointed until this came along. Blockbuster. That looks pretty cool. So, here was the low pressure, almost like there was 2 of them. One here, but there was still 1 low pressure. Okay, that's kind of like showing them 2 coming together, okay? Here's your 1 low pressure center. There's your other. You can tell by the circles. You can see the circles right here. 1 here and 1 here. And they're pretty much coming together because you got your snow over the Great Lakes here and you got your snow near the coast. So there's your sign that the 2 systems are coming together, and there's a lot of snow. DC, we're getting down to Dover and Philly, all in the snow. And watch this really winds up from 988 millibars. Remember, the lower the pressure, the lower that red number, stronger the storm. So we go from 988 to 976, and the snow gets really heavy from Trenton, New Jersey through New York City. The snow gets super heavy, okay, but still, even that dark blue is still really heavy snow from like Elkton, Maryland through Wilmington, Delaware through Philly through New York City, even the coast of Jersey. Okay, and look at all the snow through the Great Lakes with that other storm system. Okay, so the snow is just overspreading. Like I said, this is a week away, so we still got time for this to change. Okay, it all wraps up by Sunday through Monday. Maybe Monday you can still have some lake effect snow, but other than that, that's pretty much it. So, how much snow are we talking about here? Let's get the load there. And we're talking about snowfall amounts exceeding potentially 9-10 inches. Look at this. Okay, New York City, they're calling for 23 inches. Nearly 2 feet for New York City, the Canadian model. But don't worry. This is one of those models that I'm sure it's going to change it later. Philly, 13 inches. Trenton, 20 inches. Okay, Southern Connecticut, maybe 13. Maybe Wilmington at 9. Maybe Baltimore at 6. DC probably at 5. So it's still, even if we got like 2 inches of snow for the I-95 with the storm system, okay, if we got 2 inches, that's still technically, the biggest storm of the season, because the biggest storm of the season brought us like 1/4 of an inch of snow. Okay, and look, the Canadian model is also putting a lot of snow in the Smoky Mountains. Okay, 6 to 10 inches is possible. Okay, but no actual like weather news company or even myself is going to really put totals on this yet. Probably not till maybe middle of next week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe you can start putting totals, but really, wait till Wednesday, Thursday, probably, and then we can get an idea when this is going to come, if it does. And still, the Eastern Appalachian Mountains, we still talk about over 1 foot of snow potentially. Okay, now this is the model GFS kind of sound pretty disappointing, but at least we still had snow. The European model, just a little spoiler alert, it's a little bit disappointing. Okay, so there's the little batch of rain coming off the coast, and you're waiting for it. Like, where is it? Well, there it is. That's it. No snow at all. Okay, and I lied. It's a lot disappointing. Okay, basically, what's going to happen is there's going to be some instability. Rain showers start to form offshore. We get some instability. Okay, and just that's it. Just a weak, somewhat strong. And you know why? Because we got a high pressure here that's kind of throwing it this way and kind of kicking this thing out. I mean, it's not letting it go so much closer. And a high pressure is also not that far north. I know there might be another one. But, I mean, it's kind of pulling some cold air down, but the storm's just not close enough to provide any precipitation. So it's just moving out to sea, and that's it. Maybe another one follows that, but that's it. Okay, your best shot here with the European model is there's a little... Because remember how I said there was two low pressure systems, one coming from the Great Lakes and one coming from the coast. Well, the one from the coast you just saw, so maybe the Europeans calling for that other low pressure system from the Great Lakes to drop down from the south and maybe give a little bit of snow for like interior northeast, but nothing for the I-95 corridor. Just a big nothing burger. All right, so when we look at the precipitation or snowfall amounts with the European model, again, now through what, like Monday afternoon, maybe 10 inches, 6 to 10 for like Erie and Buffalo, but I mean, basically maybe a quarter of an inch for Boston, but really nothing for the 95 corridor at all. Only the interior and northeast where you're going to see that snow coming from the Great Lakes disturbance. All right, so GFS, okay, let's go to the, and I want to look at the dynamics real quick. I don't want to take too long on this, but let's look at the dynamics to see, like, are the two loads going to merge together? If they do, when are going to happen, all that. So here's a GFS, okay, and I want you to kind of notice, there's, you can see your little dip there, and there you go. Okay, the two lows are going to essentially, we got, you know, one starting to drop out here, one here, and it will get very close. They'll, you know, getting very close to touching together if they merge, because the closer they get together, and it would help if they merge, the more of a blockbuster storm we could have, and the more precipitation we're going to have. The precipitation type, that's still got to be worked out, but hopefully we can at least get some precipitation in here. Okay, here we go, Canadian model. Let's give that some time there. There we go. Okay. So as we move on here, look at this. So this is here's your blockbuster snowstorm. You got some fuel coming down from the north and west, meeting up with that ocean flow. So Canadian model, I'd say they're getting pretty close together. European model, though, I'm not so sure about. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, I'm gonna keep it zoomed out to the United States. I think it just see it better. And the European model is not going to show you anything because nothing's coming at all. But still, I would like to look at the vorticity map just to... Alright, here we go. So we're getting all your energy. I mean, there it is. It looks pretty strong, but, I mean, it's not really circulated. And that's what you really want to see with, I mean, one of these winter storms. So let's go through the articles real quick. Okay, starting with the Weather Channel, and not really much to show you, except for Tuesday night. And maybe some snow and mix from St. Louis to Oklahoma City, Nashville, but Memphis will probably be rain for you. And then, like I said, if there's a jet stream dip, like I showed you in the models, if that can meet up with that low pressure system, give it that extra boost of energy, you can see some snow and mix potentially break out. It's a possibility. And just real quick, just look at this on the the Pennsylvania Turnpike. This is kind of like what we were experiencing when I was telling you earlier. I mean, that is just, you know, extreme flooding, and I mean, not to be mean, but that was, I mean, it's kind of a stupid move to go through that water, because you never know. Because what if you're going through water? It seems pretty shallow, right? You know the road well. It's pretty shallow, excuse me. But what if there's all of a sudden a pothole and your car goes down in that water, because the water's going to fall into that pothole. So even though it looks the same when you're driving through it, you're going to hit a pothole and your car's going to go down. So, like I said, so scenario one, okay, like I said, we the low tracking up near the coast, if not like the low center actually tracking through the big cities themselves. So coastal rain, there will be flood risk yet again, okay, like we just saw yesterday. Interior snowfall, so the snowfall will be like an interior northeast, because they've been actually having a pretty good winter. But the metropolitan cities, it's been like, you know, where's my snow? Where's my money? Okay, and there will still be travel delays either way if the storm does actually, you know, get to the coast. But what you want here is scenario two. Okay, even though that low up there is weak, we can still like the two lows really don't have to merge together to get a significant storm. Okay, I mean it would be nice if they did, but even if they don't, this low can track up the coast, and we can still get an energy fuel from the jet stream, and the polar jet and the subtropical jet can still merge together, still get some kind of low to form. So coastal rain and snow, Great Lakes, you can see some snow showers from this low pressure, this weak one up there, but it'll be less snow for you. Potential nor'easter and still travel delays. But I mean, there's other than that, there's really no how much else we could say. Why is this happening? Well, some evidence that the North Atlantic Oscillation. Now you might be wondering, what is the North Atlantic Oscillation? I was hoping that you would ask. Okay, so just look up NAO, negative oscillation, and I mean this is basically what it is here. Okay, when the NAO, North Atlantic Oscillation, which is what I was just showing you, gets to a negative phase, the cold air the Arctic air filters into the east, you get low pressure systems which chalk up the coast, and we get cold air spilling into the United States and into Europe. It gets really cold too. But remember, the high pressure is going to be stuck over Greenland. So Greenland's going to have some warm and dry times, and that's not good for, not good for the ice situation and their snow. So, the North Atlantic Oscillation, on average, I mean, compared to like the first few days of January, it's definitely been going down through the month, and it will continue to make a deep plunge as we had the beginning of February. This is when that nor'easter could come, and we could be sitting below zero for the NAO. So that could potentially lead to some, who knows, some more snowstorms, some more nor'easters. We'll just have to wait and see. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you guys for watching. I am The Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, catch you guys next video.